Welcome back to the Down South Philly Show. I am your co-host, DP in the building. Today we're gonna talk a little NFC East talk. How y'all feeling today? Come on in. Welcome, welcome. Make sure y'all can hear me. If you can hear me good, throw some ones in the chat. Let's go. All right, let's go. All right, so like I said, welcome in the chat. Uh, we're gonna talk NFC East talk today. Big NFC East talk. Um, of course, we brought home Super Bowl championship back to the division. But what we really want to find out is, did anybody close the gap, right? So I think everybody in the division for the most part got better, but did anybody get good enough to compete and or take the East from the Eagles? That's what we're gonna dive into today. First, of course, if you missed last week's show, we took a deep dive into all things Philly and all of our off-season moves. But it doesn't hurt to do a quick refresher. So let's start off with the NFC East champs. Um, Obviously, the biggest coach move that we made was moving on from Kellen Moore. Kellen Moore went and he got a head coaching job with the New Orleans Saints. Tough loss. I wanted to keep him for at least one more year. We already know that Hurst has had plenty of turnover every year that he's been an Eagle outside of 22, 21 and 22. It just sucks to have to learn a new system year after year after year. But here we go again. So we lose Kellen Moore. Um, we restructure a deal with Saquon to give him another bag, which I mean he earned. He was the best running back in football last year. Well deserved. Um, Added a couple tight ends on 1 year deals in Kylan Granson and Harrison Bryant. Um, we had some key departures though. We traded away CJ. That was out of nowhere. Nobody really expected that. But we also traded Kenny Pickett, which wasn't a huge loss. He was a good backup for us, solid. Um, didn't really cost us any games, in my opinion. So he did his job. He stepped in, played well. That's all you can really ask for from a backup quarterback. Um, and then of course we lost Slay, which that's a huge loss to me. We lost Slay, and we let Rogers walk in free agency, which that sucks too, because now that leaves a question mark. Of course, we know Q. We know what he can do. We have faith now in Cooper DeJean in the slot, but who is going to take over for Slay? Some might say Ringo. He's got a shout out to Ringo. He's got a new number, number 7 now. But I don't know. What do y'all think? Y'all think Ringo can take over what Slay did? I guess that remains to be seen. But at the end of the day, I trust Vic to get the right guy in position. Um, that was all the key losses that we had. But then we get to the draft. We get of course Jahad Campbell, Andrew Makuba, Ty Robinson, Mac McWilliams, Smile Munden, Drew Kendall, Kyle McCord, Miles Hinton, Cameron Williams, and Antoine Powell Riley. Solid draft. Again, we went into depth with this last week, so I just wanted to gloss over our additions, some of the losses that we had. But after that, let's go to the runner-up, the Washington Commanders. So first things first, they did an amazing job last season. Was a dark horse, came out of nowhere. Nobody expected them to even make the playoffs, let alone make it to a NFC championship. So they get, kudos for that, being that they found their guy. Jaden Daniels seems to be a stud, young, talented quarterback that can make all the throws, mobile when he needs to be, smart guy. Yeah, I really like what I see out of him. So really, the biggest things with him was just making sure that you build around him. One, fortifying the offensive line. So they did. They added Laramie Tunsil, so that's gonna lock down that left side. Um, in the draft, they got Connolly from Oregon, which is another solid pickup. They in free agency, they went ahead and got Michael Gallup. They fortified the guard position with Nick Herbig, DN Dietrich Wise, Jacob Martin, Javon Kinlaw at the D tackle position. Got another D tackle in Eddie Goldman. Picked up Jonathan Jones at the cornerback position, a safety with Will Harris. Added a kicker, needed a kicker. Um, Solid moves. One of the key trades that they made in the offseason was getting Debo Samuel. That was a big move for them. I don't know if it necessarily answers the wide receiver 2 position, but he is a playmaker. You got to give him that. I don't think that he moves the needle from a wide receiver position, but hey, we got to respect the move, and just adding. There you go. There you go. The other half of the downside Philly show. Mm. How we feeling today? Make sure you can hear me. Make sure I can hear you. AirPods. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I went ahead and already talked about, since we already did a full show on the birds, I just went ahead and glossed over all our off-season moves. Um, I was actually just started on Washington and what they added in free agency, and just talked a little bit about basically how they fortified the offensive side of the ball. So they did address a lot in free agency when it comes to the defensive side of the ball, though. I like some of the moves they made on the defensive line. They got getting Kinlaw, Jacob Martin, Dietrich Wise as a DN. Um, but I think when it comes to the draft, it seems like they just attack offense. But they did go ahead and fortify their offensive line. Got Laramie Tunsil on the left side. Got the young guy out of Oregon for the right side. Well, I assume he's going to be on the right side at tackle in the first round. So I mean, I think for the most part, outside of wide receiver, they kind of touched on a few things that they needed in the draft. They
Hey, you.
I
I don't
don't
know if they
necessarily think that Debo
can you
moved the needle,
hear me.
but I mean he is a playmaker, and if he can stay
You.
healthy, he definitely should be able to bust some moves. So how you feel? Huh?
You can hear me.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How you feel about the moves that we made? Not us. How you feel about the moves Washington made so far in the all season? lost him. We come right back to him. But like I said, I believe that we addressed that the Commanders addressed some offseason needs. I don't know if they necessarily fill every hole because it's just impossible to fill every hole in one offseason. But so far, so good. Um, they made it all the way to the NFC Championship. Don't really see them going back so far, but who knows? They made it once without anybody believing in them. Now it's a little bit of expectation. The tape is out on Jaden Daniels, but when it's a good when you as talented as a quarterback as a person like Jaden Daniels, who knows? He could come out and have a hell of a sophomore season and not take a slump at all. So I still see them. If I had to make a guess without seeing the rest of the offseason and what they could potentially add, definitely I don't see them taking a step back in the division. They could just as easily be, second place, right on our heels. If things go south with injuries, maybe even leading the NFC East. They are that talented. So then we want to get to let's talk Dallas, man. Because last off season they didn't really do much. They didn't really address anything. Draft wasn't the sexiest of drafts, but they were able to pick up a tackle, which they needed, and they always draft well. But come to the season, it just didn't go well. They didn't really address any run stopping, and that led to a terrible season for him. Plus, Dak got hurt, so that didn't help either. Fast forward to now, needing more help on the offensive line. They lost a major piece at guard, and I think they replaced it in Brooks. We'll see. Some say he's the most talented guard in. He was the most talented guard in the draft. Some say he was a reach. Every draft you got that. So in my opinion, he seems to be he has the potential to fill that void that they have. We'll see. Now they got 3 Tylers on the line. Don't know if that means anything, but we'll see about that as well. But some of the key additions that they made, I didn't realize that they picked up Miles Sanders. That could mean something. It could not mean something. He kind of to went to Carolina and was forgotten about after the best season he ever had with Philly, helping us make it all the way to a Super Bowl in 22. But now he's in Dallas. They also have Javonte Williams, so he'll be a two-headed monster in the backfield. We'll see if that matters. Um, Added a cornerback in Kier Elam via trade from the Bills. And outside of that, it looks like they waived Malik Davis at running back, which wasn't a huge loss. So in the first round, they go Tyler Booker. They add another running back in Jaden Blue, 2 7th-round picks in Siobhan Revel, and 1 7th-round pick, Siobhan Revel. And then they got an interesting trade that they made for Joe Milton. Now, some people claim that Joe Milton is actually going to be starting by the end of the season. I don't necessarily believe that Joe is going to make any big changes. I don't know. We'll see. But so far, I got to see that one. Joe hadn't really had a chance to touch the field much when he was with New England, and strong arm, didn't get much. He didn't really play that much at Tennessee. So, I mean, it's just not much tape to critique on him. Could he be a good quarterback? Maybe. We'll see. It's just kind of unproven in that sense. But nothing, I don't think I definitely think that Dallas got better. Um, some of the moves that they made, I do like the D tackle that they added. Let me see if I can't find it. I can't think of his name right now, but I feel like they drafted a D tackle. Drawing a blank on them right now, but I'm trying to get my my co-host back in here. But having some technical difficulty, but the show must go on. Um, I do think they got better. They filled some needs. They did get, added some running back, so they at least addressed the running back position this year. And let's not kid ourselves. Dallas is a formidable opponent. They seem to be, when healthy, one of the better teams in the NFC. I see them possibly making the playoffs. It's gonna come down to Dak's health. If he's hurt, they have no shot of going anywhere. With him there, we'll see. He's an older quarterback now. They haven't really addressed the wide receiver position outside of CD Lamb. Maybe they become more run centric and keep the ball out of Dak's hand a little bit. We'll see. But we got to talk about these New York Football Giants. They got better. So, the biggest move that they made of note was before the draft. They picked up Jameis Winston. They also picked up Russell Wilson. Two solid quarterbacks. That kind of told you all you needed to know about how they were going to attack the draft, right? So, uh, obviously, they had the number 3 pick. It was kind of consensus that Cam Ward was going to be gone by then, which he was. Went number 1 overall. So that left them to pick up Abdul Carter, probably one of the best, if not the best, athletes outside of Hunter, in the entire draft. So that was a solid pickup for him. I thought that they were going to go Shador, or a quarterback in general. But then they mess around and trade back into the first round and get Jackson Dart. Nah, I'm not gonna lie to you about that. I'm not really a big believer in Dart. I gotta see it. I gotta see it. We know this year he's probably gonna be on ice because they have Russell Wilson, they have Jameis Winston, but we'll see. We'll see how that goes. I think Carter was a big move. This is all of a sudden this defense can be scary. So they have Abdul Carter. They got the DN that they picked up from Carolina last year. They got Dexter Lawrence. So I mean they have a defensive line that can get after it. The question will be, can they stop the run? Uh, That's gonna be the big question because it doesn't matter what kind of guys can get after the quarterback if you're never in a pass rush position in the first place. So we'll see if that matters. Um, at the very least, they have a stable quarterback room now for the first time in a long time. So what does Russell Wilson have left in the tank? He showed us a little bit of what he could do last year. I think we can go ahead and say that Russ, vintage Russ is kind of gone. He still can throw a hell of a moon ball. Um, they have neighbors. They still have. Do they still have Slayton? Yeah, they do have Slayton. Picked up Scatterbo in the draft as well. Don't know what kind of pro he's going to be, but he did have some interesting tape out of Arizona State. So we'll see if that matters. But with all that being said, Brian Burns, that was the other DN that I couldn't think of that they got last year from Carolina. Um, but yeah, I think they got better. In my opinion, if I had to pick somebody to be in the basement per se, I think it could be Dallas. It could be the Giants. It could be Dallas. I think they'll duke it out for 3. I just don't see Washington taking that big of a step back. Even if they do, I don't think that it'll be. I don't think they'll drop past 2 in the division. They got the upside of being a division leader, but I don't think that they're the 3rd best team in the division right now. Coming into it, I would say that they're number 2. Um, with the Giants being number 3 and Dallas being in the 4th spot. But we'll see. I think that as a whole, the whole division got better. We did lose as an Eagles fan. We did lose a hell of a lot, but we seem to have addressed it in the draft, at least on paper. And we also have, our free agency additions, and we still could make moves. Who knows? Howie is never satisfied with whatever roster that we currently have. He's always looking to get better, always looking to wheel and deal, right? So, uh, what do all these moves mean? I'm going to say for the first time in over 20 years that the Eagles repeat as the NFC East champs. Let me know how y'all feel about that in the chat. Who is your division winners in 2025? I'm gonna say, what's good, Mogul Brand? Let me know who you got winning the East. Matter of fact, let's peel it back a little bit. We got who's your division winner and who's your division loser for this coming season. Me personally, I got the Birds repeating, which generally doesn't happen in the NFC East. But I think that we can build upon the Super Bowl win and repeat as NFC East champions with Dallas in the basement, at least in my opinion. But I think that it won't be Dallas being just that bad. I just think as a whole, the whole division got better. That's right, all things Perkins. Will win the East. Um, so if I had to rank them, like I said again, I got Philly, Washington, New York, Dallas. That would be my early my my super early off-season predictions for the division. Tune in next week. We're gonna have some more stuff for you. But let me know who y'all got winning the division, who y'all got losing the division. Um, I pretty much ran through everything that I had for today. I just wanted to, take a minute of your time to talk NFC East, big NFC East talk, because we making moves in the division. So it should be another fire season. We'll be the defending champs in multiple ways, whether it be the division, whether it be the conference, or the whole league. We are the defending champs in a lot this coming season. So should be a good one. That's my time today. I am your host, DP from the Down South Philly Show. Make sure y'all tune in next week. We'll be here 7:30 sharp to talk some more Birds football. Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And always go Birds.